In this episode of Threading Thoughts, we discuss the basics of franchising. While franchising is not an equal partnership, franchising can be a vehicle of success for both franchisor and the franchisee. A marketing concept, it is also a strategy for business expansion. The franchisor licenses know how, procedures, use of its business model, intellectual property, brand, and rights to sell its branded products and services to a franchisee. In return, certain fees are paid and certain obligations need to be met. However, one disadvantage of franchising is quality control, as the firm's brand name conveys a message to the consumers about the quality and consistency of the firm's product, and this has to be protected. Paresh Shinde founded Evanche, an information and technology company in 2020, to solve the sole purpose of businesses of all sizes by integrating technologies. He is also a part of the New York based GLG Group of global consultants as a council member. Prior to founding Evanche, he successfully ran the franchise of Royal Enfield in 2017 as the sole proprietor in the Thane Bhiwandi area of Mumbai. He has also run the BMW marketing and sales campaign in Nasik and worked with the core team of Ogilvy Public Relations of Mumbai on the ICC World Cup 2011. Paresh, thank you so much for joining us today. It's really a pleasure to have you. And you are a very busy man, but thank you for taking time off.
No, actually, it's my pleasure to be able to provide some kind of a value to you because I think the idea which you're working on, like with Threading Thoughts, it's such a beautiful concept that I feel privileged, to be able to share this kind of any kind of information which I can provide. So, in fact, I'm lucky right now.
Oh, that's really kind of you. It's a small, effort that we are doing. Thank you. So, Paresh, I wanted to ask you, can you sort of elaborate on, some of the standard operating procedures, how to comply, how to cooperate with franchising? For example, small things like, you have checks, regular checks with the franchisor. The way you're going to sell or market the products, the territory, and then manufacturing, perhaps if you deal with it. So some initial points on franchising, please.
Yeah, see, SOPs are very important in the franchisee, like it's basically standard operating procedure, So this is the most important kind of a thing, which a franchisor gives to the franchisee by providing its manual. So basically it's a set of procedure, specifically for operations, which is based on rules, regulations, guidelines of the parent company, of the main franchisor. So in this, like specifically a manual is given, to the franchisee, which he has to adhere step by step, guide by, like rules by rules, specifically he has to adhere to the rules. So in that way, this is how we comply, and like how we comply is, see, why it is given SOP mainly is for customers. Mainly, ultimately, what is everyone's need, to give a better customer satisfaction. So these guides are only catering mostly to the customers. So like customers in a way that, in the manual, what is written is how to, like have a specific display, a store display, that is very important. A processing kind of a outlet, a procedure, how to process, any kind of a customer is having a grievance, any kind of a thing, So even like there are a set of kind of guidelines for us, where we have to go in a very formulated manner, in a very standard manner, to address the grievances. So, like this is how it is actually, so it depends. The guidelines are also for the service operations, suppose in automobile industry. So it's basically in all the areas of operation, in the retail sector, in the cash payment processes, in the service sector, everywhere it is. So, I mean, this is how, like step by step it is given. Now, see, again, a more detailed SOP guidelines has to be discussed with the franchisor. Just a specific guideline cannot be a practice. Like suppose if a franchisor says that an order has to be replenished, during this kind of a time after a month. So it doesn't set that what time after a month, So again, a franchisee has to discuss this to the franchisor that, like in a very detailed manner, that if I have to replenish any kind of a reorder, then like at a certain level, it has to be on a certain level. Like suppose if my inventory is getting piled out, so at this kind of a certain level, even before the inventory gets totally piled out, at a certain point, I have to notify to my franchisor that I need the order, so like this can get working, in a very smooth manner, so that there is no breakage, there are no obstacles. Now, as you asked about complying, okay, now complying happens with a lot of factors. Now, again, with the help of technology and digitalization, we have cloud-based technologies. We have automation systems in place, for databases, for documents, it's all in the software. It's all in the software. We have CCTV cameras, to like there is a particular person assigned by the franchisor who will only and only observe if the standard operating procedures are maintained by the franchisee or not, So with the help of CCTV cameras, even in the services areas, even in the retail areas, they monitor every kind of an activity, like how you talk with the customer, how you are, maintaining all the processes given in the guidelines. So basically, even automation, it's like a boon. So a kind of people are authorized for this, for automation platforms where a particular password is given to them. So only those kind of secret people, like they are not known to all the kind of employees, So these are like these people are provided by the franchise itself, as a supervisor, So where they are provided with the passwords, and they only do is they monitor all the activities, in all areas of operations. So this is how, we comply. This is how we maintain. Maintenance again goes with the inventory management, again with the accountancy, with the payment processes, even with the documents. We have to maintain all the documents properly, like updated, not just on the paper, but again with the softwares, because it gets rechecked with the paper also by the regional manager, monthly or weekly basis, and the same information has to be checked, with the online software platforms, so there is no kind of deviances, over there, so this is how like transparency is maintained in both the manners, with the maintenance, compliance, and with SOPs. So that is how it is.
But it's very interesting because one thing that I wanted to check with you was, does it involve, so you said everything is online, it's very digitized. So is this something that the franchisor also comes in person and checks?
Yeah.
Or, the regional managers, they come in person and check? I mean, is that how that happens? Or
Yes.
everything is just digitalized?
No. This also happens that a franchisor he hires a kind of a supervisor. So where like as an obligation, we franchise has to accept. This is management control, by the franchises. So it's an obligation for us that we cannot deny them, like if they want to do any kind of a specific control management kind of a stuff. So we are obliged, for them. So what they do is they hire us kind of a specific supervisor, who will come, maybe it's a surprise random visit sometimes, by the regional manager, or sometimes by the regional manager itself, or sometimes by some kind of a supervisor, some kind of an unknown person which you don't know. Even this happens, okay? Even this happens. So they send a random person in a certain manner, that they will only do is they will only observe. So they will provide an ID and they will show that, yeah, this is from the company itself. Later, so we follow the practices, whatever they ask, whatever they see to show, the data, if they want to be seen, if they want to check the operational kind of like accessories, if we have the specific maintenance of oil or not, if we have the specific stock or not, so they come personally and they check whether the stocks are available or not, whether we're not depleted by the stocks itself. Twice a month you can expect, that is happening from regional manager.
Oh wow, that's quite hands-on. But what about, do they mark your territories or say that this is where you can do, this is where you can market, you can sell? Because I'm sure they'll have other franchisees, so they should know each other's business, right? So something also that they talk about in the manual, or is that something that you can discuss and do it with them?
Yes. See, it's a very important part in the manual itself. That is called exclusivity. This is where we franchisers, I mean, like we as a franchisee, like we get that kind of an exclusivity license. in the area. No other same name company can operate with the same brand, you know. So like if I have been given a territory exclusive rights, so my area of 5 kilometers will be covered, where within that 5 kilometers, no other similar brand in the same name will be able to establish. See, this is basically given for us to recover from our basic cost, you know, from our infrastructure cost. That is very important for us. That's why they have to give it, you know, this kind of a right to us. This is basically a win-win thing for us, actually, you know. So again, that becomes an exclusivity, you know, like people indirectly, they get marketed, you know, they get marketed. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like that's a most benefit kind of a stuff for us, you know, exclusivity. Again, in this exclusivity, you know, like we have to know all the transaction details of all the trademark details, you know, from the franchise itself. Like if we have to know if there is any kind of a proceedings going on with the franchise, you know, any third party obstruction, any kind of legal proceedings are going on with the franchise, you know. So we have to see a franchisor is obliged to give us this kind of an information, you know, like there are no proceedings going on before signing up.
So that is exactly leading perfectly to my next question, because I wanted to ask you about the legality of some of these contracts. What happens is that, for example, trademarks or anything else, what are some things that you think should be kept in mind, as you were just mentioning, if you can elaborate?
See, legally, anyway, we are protected by the law, but there is no specific law for a franchise. Now, Mridula, you are a lawyer yourself. You're a patent lawyer. You know this very well, I think, you know. So there is not a specific kind of a franchise law, or even like a trade kind of a secret law also in place. But in the legal system, we are protected by a contract law, a copyright law, and also breach of confidence law, you know. So these, like, mainly basic, you know, we are protected by this kind of laws. Then again, in the agreement, we are protected by the laws of Indian contract, copyright law, trademark law, labor's law, you know. Like in food industry, you know, like FSSAI certificate we require, you know, like we are protected by all these Indian laws, basically. So any kind of a license which is required basically for us, you know, will be a company license and a shop act kind of a license, a fire license. For a restaurant, a kind of a liquor license, or maybe a food license, FSSAI license, something or the other. So these are the basics, but mainly, like, why you go for a franchise? You go for a franchise because you get all the licenses, you know, like freely, you know. So legally that is covered by the franchise itself, you know. Then again, in the agreement, we are covered by the laws, but in India, basically, we don't have any kind of a franchise or trade secret kind of a law. You know?
Legality as far as trademarks, everything is taken care of by the franchisor, is what I assume. So when he hands it, you just have to ensure that everything is above board with the franchisor. If there's any litigation pending, he has to, or he or she has to let you know, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So it's their responsibility at this point of time to make sure that everything is clean when they hand it over to you.
They are obliged to it. Yeah, they are obliged to it. Like they have to assist you. Like they have to assist you for regulatory and governmental purposes also. You know, like it's their obligations actually. Yes, true that.
One interesting question that I had, you were starting to mention about you know, this SOP and the booklet that they give you, things that you need to maintain. But when you talk about maintenance, there was one thing I wanted to ask you about. One was, how do you know, is there any specific protocol for maintaining the premises? You said something about how to display. So even how to maintain the premises or how you design the premises. And also, I think you have to keep in mind, this should be only for franchisee operations, right? It cannot be used for something else. As a lead on, I also want you to touch upon some of the staff training, the payment of salary, all that go to just the infrastructural capabilities.
Yeah. See, that's a most important point that we as a franchisee, we should have that infrastructure kind of a capability and that kind of an investment to perform all the functions and all the duties. See, basically, working capital is very important for all these things. In fact, even before signing up a franchise agreement, one should understand that whether you have a working capital or not, you know, because before you even set up an institution, you have to provide a certain kind of a training to the people, who will be joining you. So even before setting up, a certain kind of a team is sent out by the franchise itself, by the take out as a store leader, a general manager, and an assistant manager for training purposes. So these three people, like main people, they are taken out for a month or two training, for recruitment purposes and all. Then there are SOPs and HR practices also in the companies, like an automobile. So they want a specific set of employee, who has this kind of a specific background to be hired. Basically, hiring is done by franchise itself, and we only decide the salaries. We have to hire this kind of a particular guy with this kind of a background itself, with this kind of an experience itself. So when during then the training happens for a month, maybe or two, end-to-end kind of a thing. Like even when the commissioning of a plant, during the commissioning of the plant, it's not just the employees itself, but even the operational kind of a machinery which we have in the company. So the franchisor is obliged, whether he has to check whether all the machines are in place, whether they are working or not. They do all the inspections, they all do all the checkups. So before handing over it to the owner, there is a specific team, which goes through all this, which makes it sure that everything is working very well. Because in automobile especially, we do face a lot of service kind of a hurdle, like service machinery hurdle. So we have to make sure that if the machinery gets breakdown, so it doesn't come to us. So we have to make sure by the franchisee itself, in his presence, that everything is working, before even starting. Yeah.
Most people don't understand how much of work actually the franchisor does before the franchise is given.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, like seriously, I mean, like you get very happy that you are done with the interview, you approve for setting up this kind of a franchisee and all that, you are very happy coming up back home, telling people, your friends and family, you do a party. Then when you actually go and sit for the actual work to be done with the licenses, with the franchisor, with the employees, with a lot of stuff. I mean, oh my God, I mean, it's so much of a headache. But yeah, it's a hurdle in the start, but later it gets very smooth. It does get smooth, because that's the benefit of a franchisee actually, rather than a self-owned business.
That is exactly what I was going to ask you next. How would you rate a franchisee as perhaps against starting your own business? Because, for example, before that, I think we should take a step back and say, what are the first, say, 10 things you would do?
See, franchise business, definitely it's a very profitable model anyway. It's a good profitable model. So if you're getting a foreign kind of an investment, first you have to get to know all the information. Show that kind of a commitment to the franchisor also, that yeah, you will be able to do it. So even the franchisor, before giving any kind of a franchisee deal to anyone, they do the whole background analysis. They see that if the person is really well sufficient, to perform all the duties and obligations of the franchisee. So they check, even they check the accounts, they check the books of the past 5 years, that how you have maintained the income tax, how your businesses were profitable in the past, what were your businesses. They have to check all that. So again, see, this is how basically, if you're starting a franchise, you have to make sure that you have that kind of a working capital intact. Working capital, Mridula, is very important. Yeah, it's very important, because people, they don't realize, they think that 6 months ka working capital is enough, but 6 months ka it's not enough. You have to have at least 1 to 1.5 years ka working capital. Even if you get loans from the bank, even if you're getting them done, you have to get that stock in place, especially for an automobile, or maybe especially for even restaurants. You really got to have a best location where you attract a lot of demographics, has to be in place over here. You attract a lot of crowd in that area, because if you open a KFC on the highway itself, which is not really used by a lot of people, it won't work. But if you open a KFC or a McDonald's in a college area, college gathered area, or maybe public area, mainly busy area, you get it going. But again, sometimes you really don't get that kind of exclusive kind of territory. So you may have to bargain, or maybe you may have to look other places. So before everything is put in order for your own profitable manner, you have to see or look at your own benefits. It's not just that someone is handing you a paper of a franchise and you go with it. No, it's not happening with that. You have to really bargain, you have to negotiate, you have to see whether you're getting the right taste or not, whether you're getting the right market or not, whether you're getting having that kind of a sufficient capital or not. In fact, even you have to make sure that whether you're getting that kind of a commitment from the franchisor itself or not. Because even franchisor, he has some kind of an obligation and warranties also to give you. So you have to check if everything is in place. Like a franchisor, you shouldn't have any kind of a violation, a trademark kind of a violation or any kind of a thing in the past, like a lot of risk in something that it's your own business, it's franchise. Again, it's a business which is gathered by which is it's managed by a lot of different people also. So you have to be very careful with that. So there is this kind of a risk, which a franchisee faces, like a loss of brand equity, as it is managed by a lot of other people also. Just because you have SOPs in place, you have quality control measures in place, you're doing good, that's okay. But again, what if the other franchise outlet in another city, or maybe in the same city itself, he does some kind of a mistake? If there is any kind of a mistake, or if there is any kind of a carelessness, suppose like KFC in the food, suppose if there is a cockroach to be found in the food, or suppose if there is a fault in the service in automobile industry, so you face that kind of a wrath, of a customer. Again, you have to be customer oriented, you customer centric, that's a liability. Because if you don't adhere to customer care properly, you get negative bad remarks, which you and your franchisor itself, you both faces. So then the next you see is you already own a business, and then the next you see is you are being treated like an employee, where a franchise or a boss is coming on your head and telling you, ऐसा
Correct.
क्यों किया, वैसा क्यों किया, ऐसा वैसा ये
Exactly,
वो.
because
You
the
don't want to face
feedback
all that.
loop would have been negative, or something would have come out of it. So their concern of, which
Yeah,
you correctly put, brand erosion, it is so important for a franchisee. Most people forget, they just think that
it's very important.
everything is just handed on a platter. It's not, because you're taking care of somebody else's brand. It's not yours. It's not like a business where yours
It's
is
not
at
yours.
stake. It's somebody else's, right?
Yeah,
So the risk
yeah,
is much
yeah.
higher.
It's very, even it goes with the compliances, even like not just the liability, it goes with the compliances also. Because now there are a lot of regulations by the government, not just the government, even by the municipalities. Now in Enfield, Royal Enfield, we have this basic. Now recently they have introduced store formats, not just the big franchise model. They have introduced store formats, where we can go to remote villages also, rural villages also. We can set up a store for minimum 5 to 6 lakh rupees, and then we can set up a store also. But again, what you face in all this district also is some municipality kind of a regulations. So now if there is a regulatory, if there is a government compliances, central and state government compliances also, and if you don't follow it, so you may come to a situation where your store has to be shut. And then when your store is shut, it creates such a negative emotion in people. It creates doubt and confusion in people that ye band kaise kya ho gaya, all that. So you have to adhere to all the compliances by the government also. That is a kind of a risk which you take. Then again, as I mentioned in the past, capital risk. Capital is the most important thing. Like you shouldn't, even if you're getting the loans, you shouldn't get depleted with the capital. So if you can, you know, if you can evaluate all this kind of a risk, if you can evaluate properly a business model, everything with the proper consultation, expert guidance and everything, you're very good to go for a franchise business, because almost 85 to 90% is profitable. Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's profitable. You have to work hard. But it's very profitable if you really comply. Like with all the obligations and regulations and compliances and liabilities. You need a great team actually. Because if you don't have a great team, Rudala, even a lot of money also won't help. A good name, brand name will also not help. You have to have that kind of a specific team. And for that team to be in practice, you have to have a very good detailed SOPs in place. SOPs are very important, and then again, maintaining, complying, that kind of an authority, a strictness is very important. Luckily, because of automation, it's because of transparency, you don't even have to shock people, everything is managed very smoothly because everything is seen. And if things are seen, and people, they don't want to get embarrassed, when things are directly being seen, by automation, by cloud, by CC cameras. So yeah, I mean, like,
Exactly.
yeah, it's good to hear.
Exactly. And everything is recorded, everything is digital.
Happened in the past, like in my services department, there was this kind of internal employee, a service kind of an employee, there was a kind of a theft of an oil, in the service department. So there was no kind of an officer to keep a check, who was behind him. So he thought that he can do that kind of a theft in the dark. But even he couldn't understand that there are specific CCTV cameras, which is in place, but there are also small little CC cameras, hidden, which rarely people get to know. Like we keep it hidden from our employees. So he didn't know that he's getting caught, and he got caught, but he later apologized also, and it was all cool later. But this is how that one example created an example for many. So that after that, like people, they get become beware, like they are more careful that they don't have to do any of this kind of practices. Yeah, so this happens, this happens, chori happens a lot. Now even in restaurants, chori happens of plates, of bowls, of spoons, small things, small things. So that's why it's very important actually to be really careful. You have to put that specific trustworthy person in place over there, 24/7, to be careful. But mostly you can't avoid, Pridula. This happens here. You face this kind of a loss somewhere or the other. Because I've seen that a lot. I've seen with my friends also who have restaurants. They complain with the balls getting stolen, with the spoons getting stolen, with this getting stolen. Bhaji pala bhi chori ho jata hai. Bhaji pala bhi bachta nahi hai kabhi kabhar. So this happens.
No, I think it's also because we're working with people. They come with their own baggages, they come with their lack of ethics or with ethics. So you have to deal with that, right? If I was
Yeah.
expect risks, because I think that's very important for people getting into franchising. They have to sort of understand there's so many risks, as you mentioned. Of course, one risk, hopefully, the legal risk get rid of when a franchisor comes in with a very solid trademark, a very solid, IP, and there's no issue with that. So that's possibly one place where hopefully they are safe enough and they come in with that, with an ironclad trademark or IP.
Yeah.
Okay? So that at least is taken care of.
IPs.
Of course.
Yeah. You're a lawyer yourself, like how intellectual property rights are, needs to be maintained, like very, very well. Because in India, somewhere it lacks, it's not the same in US, So yeah, I mean, like this kind of practices have to come from the government itself, for intellectual property, IPRs, everything. Yeah.
Absolutely. If I was looking at a franchise from you and I sat right in front of you, what were the first, say, 5 things you would say that I should have it in my hand or I should know it? One is licenses that you mentioned. What licenses are you talking about?
See, licenses can be, licenses, you basically, when you get a franchise, you get all the licenses. So mainly the main license is quality control license, which is ISO 9001 kind of a standard kind of a license, which gets a certification, not just directly from the ISO company itself, but by a third party, So you have to put a specific agents in place, to get that kind of a licenses. So there is a quality control license, which directly you get it by the franchisee itself. So there is no particular thing which needs to be taken care of. Then licenses again, like from my side, like a ShopRec license is important, as I said in the past. A fire license is important. Like an entry and exit of the doors, because if there is a fire, suppose, so there has to be a specific guidelines followed, followed. This is given by the government itself, not just from the company, but fire license is very important again. Now in a restaurant, again, a food license, a liquor license is very important, FSSAI license is very important. So this kind of a licenses you have to have in place, which you get normally, you get it easily. You have to consult a lawyer, mainly an agent also, who gets it done, So like Udyog Adak license ho gaya, registration ho gaya, GST certification registration ho gaya, Shop Act I mentioned, so basic licenses have to be in place. Even health permit licenses are to be taken care of, as much as I can remember, So yeah, this kind of licenses, mainly basic licenses
Absolutely.
have to be.
GST, TAN, PAN, and those kind of things that for any regular business, right? For them to,
Any regular business.
yeah, those
Yeah,
are all
yeah.
very
GST
important.
certification.
Yeah, GST would be. It's as
Yeah.
service industry, it is very, very important as well. And yeah, so how do you think for an entrepreneur to start off when they're at crossroads? Sometimes they're wondering whether they should go the franchise way or their own industry way. Generally, of course, it's very very specific, right? To what industry you want, what you want to do. But when they are at crossroads, do you feel that setting up a franchise is hard work? But do you feel that the liability per se might not be that much on you? More so also equally shared by the company? Or do you feel that as a personal business that I can do, I have the flexibility to do whatever, because now you're bounded by so many SOPs. So here you don't have. Where do you think you would shift more towards? And why perhaps?
See, with the SOPs, even if you have your own personal businesses, right, you have to have those strict SOPs in place, even for your own self, for your company, you just cannot depend on if I have my own business and there are no specific standard control measures or SOPs in place. In fact, even with my own company, you cannot perform well. With the franchise, you get that kind of a plus point, in terms of exclusivity, in terms of territory, in terms of obligations by the franchisee itself, in terms of licenses, in terms of the brand name itself. Basically, it's mostly the brand name. Why people take up the franchisee is the brand name. So if I decide to set up my own business, I have to get a brand name, and then have to do years and years of hard work, to maintain,
Building
to
the
develop
brand,
that kind of
Paresh, just building the
brand
brand takes, I
a
mean,
long time.
there's effort and time.
Yeah, and time. So if you are very specific on your own business, which you have to start, so you have to really work hard for years and years to go to build that kind of a brand name, as a startup also, if you're deciding to do a startup. But with a franchise, you get everything very easily. Like, see, it's not a lifetime occupation. Again, one thing one should understand, with a franchise, it's not a lifetime occupation, okay? Now, franchisor will give you the franchisee even when he sees his own benefit also, like how much benefit you're providing to him also. So it's a give and take kind of a thing. It's not just that for your own profits, you have to give profit to someone else also. So it's not a lifetime occupation. You should realize that, because as much as you're working right now for the franchisee, tomorrow, what if the franchisor takes away the deal? Some kind of a problem happens and then you're out of the business. Then what? Definitely you have a lot of learning in place. But then again, if you have to start something of your own, you have to build that kind of a brand name. You have to put that kind of years and efforts, to do that. So I'll say, like, maybe if you really want to be an entrepreneur, like you are sure that you have to set up your own company, have a little experience, maybe in the working as a job also, maybe, like a year or two, maybe have an experience with the franchise itself. If you want to cater to, suppose, automobile sector, maybe a restaurant sector, get to know the know-hows, understand, learn, and then maybe after you get to know all the tricks and trades, of the practices, how a franchisee does. So then later you can set up your own business, because if you started without any kind of an experience, you face a lot of problems in the start. You do face a lot of problems in the start. You have to create that kind of brand name also. So initially you should go with the franchise to get the learnings, to get the experiences. That is very important. And plus it's profitable. It's short term, but it's profitable. Who doesn't want profits? It's learning, it's profitable. So I think you should go for franchise first, like, because again, it's not something where you have to put a lot of investment also. There is a kind of an investment, but it doesn't it's not proportional to the kind of investment which you have to put by setting up your own business,
I'm talking
because
exactly, because talking about investment, also getting financial assistance, right?
Yeah.
against a sole business owner to a franchisor. So what do you think that there's a lot of help when you say that I'm going to set up a franchise? Is there some help from the firm as well or the company?
See, basically loans are being taken. Yeah, with the franchise, banks definitely do come out and they help, with the franchise models, So, yeah, but a lot of people, they again with the banks, with the compliances, they do check your background. They see how, like are you efficient or not, So yeah, we do get that kind of an assistance from the banks, even from private institutions, financial institutions also. Um, which is also called as supply chain financing, SCF, kind of a model which works with private industries, private financing institutions like Tata Capital. So what they do is for supplying, for operation, for to keep stocks in place, they give you this kind of a loan, a kind of a balance, maybe monthly basis or yearly basis, to keep that stock pile up. So you do get the assistance from financial institutions. Again, independently, again, also you do get bank loans, um, by mortgaging your property and all, but that is different. If you have a very good idea with the entrepreneurship, you do get help from VCs, from venture capitalists, VCs, I don't know how much they come in picture in franchising. I honestly don't know because I haven't approached VC for franchising though, but definitely for a good idea for a startup, if you want to set up your own business, one should definitely have an approach of a VC, because if you don't even get the funding from the VC, you get a lot of insights, inputs, mentorship, learning from the VCs itself, So basically you do get a round of funding also when your ideas are very bright, you have a good team, you have a good presentation, everything in place. So you do get a lot of help from VCs, from banks, from private institutions itself, basically your expertise, your team, your capability, your background, everything has to be in place, if you want to get that kind of a financial assistance, because that just doesn't happen, that just doesn't happen.
It's a tough road. It's a very tough road.
It's a tough road, but it's very exciting also, because once you get into it, Namrata, you also tend to like the journey. You tend to like the journey because you face amazing some kind of challenges, which is very exciting, which is very different, also strange, also, which it's a journey. It's a beautiful journey. It's good. It's very good actually.
Maza aata. You learn a lot, but every challenge sometimes is exciting as well. So that's always fun. But thank you so much, Paresh. You've been so helpful. You just gave us a completely broad overview of franchising, and that really helps, because a lot of people are at crossroads most of the time on whether franchising really works for them, and they really don't have a person to go to ask. Invariably, is that you just need to talk to people to realize whether it works, it doesn't work, or some of the challenges. At least that these are things I should remember, and you don't walk into a room completely blissfully unaware. So I think that makes a huge difference, that when you walk in, okay, here are things I should know at least, then I can learn more about it.
You should know.
But thank you so much. It's been absolutely informative.
All my pleasure, Mridula. All my pleasure. I'm so glad, I feel so privileged that if by my means, if there is any kind of a value, provided to the budding entrepreneurs or maybe investors, I hope it helps. I hope it helps with our platforms.
I'm sure it will, because of the information you gave. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Mridula. My pleasure.